camera drifts through silence, a silence so absolute, it makes your pulse seem loud. Out beyond the station's reinforced glass, the earth hangs like a wounded lantern, her oceans bruised black, her clouds glinting crimson under the swollen shadow of a blood moon. The International Space Station hums, each panel vibrating faintly, every bolt holding back the infinity of vacuum. Inside, 7 astronauts float in their ritual of precision, hands on controls, eyes flicking between blinking monitors, voices clipped and formal, but tonight isn't routine. Tonight, the moon pulls closer, not in distance, but in presence. Its red light bleeds through every viewport, splattering the sterile white walls with stains of rust. The commander, a man named Raskov, mutters in Russian, adjusting his headset. Telemetry stable, begin observation sequence. His tone is steady, but his fingers tremble ever so slightly. Behind him, Dr. Elena Torres wipes sweat from her brow. Though the air up here is crisp and cold, a blood moon should be no different from any other lunar phase, just a shadow play of Earth and Sun. And yet, every one of them feels it, the pressure, the way their bones ache, the way their dreams, for the past week, have been haunted by scratching sounds in the walls. The cameras point earthward. The experiment begins, but before the first data packet can even be logged, one crewman, the youngest Anders, grips his chest, curling into himself. His breathing is ragged, rasping through the comm system. His heartbeat, amplified by a mic near his suit, hammers like a war drum in the confined space. Elena drifts toward him. Anders, what's happening? His head jerks up. His pupils are pinpricks, his irises glowing with an amber sheen that has no place in orbit. His lips peel back, a low sound rattling through his throat. Not a cough, not a scream, but something far older. The station's lights flicker once, then twice, and in that moment, you feel it too. The thing every horror buried in human memory whispers about. The moon doesn't care where you run. It will find you. Even here, especially here. Why are his eyes glowing in orbit, where no moonlight should even penetrate this deep? What happens when bones break in zero gravity? Does the body tear itself apart, or become something worse? If you felt the chill of that first howl, stay with us, subscribe before the night takes you. The hum of the station deepens. For a heartbeat, the astronauts convince themselves Anders just fainted, that the stress of orbit and low oxygen levels pushed him past his limit, but then he exhales, a hiss sharp enough to frost the visor nearest to him. Torres steadies his shoulders, trying to keep him calm, but Anders jerks violently. His movements too strong, almost tearing free of her grip. In microgravity, the struggle looks unnatural, like two bodies tangled in a silent ballet. His veins ripple black against pale skin, twitching in pulses timed with the moonrise below. Restrain him, Raskov orders, voice breaking discipline for the first time. Straps are pulled from a storage bin, the kind meant to secure cargo crates. They lash Anders to the bulkhead, his body writhing, his eyes flickering gold. One of the crew whispers a word no astronaut ever expected to utter up here. Infected. The others shush him. They can't let panic crack the thin shell of sanity keeping them together. But the idea, roots deep, blooming like mold in darkness, every myth of werewolves, every legend, every cursed village, those were earthbound stories. How could they follow a man into orbit? And yet, the blood moon presses through the viewport, and Anders convulses with each flare of crimson light. He begins to mutter in broken syllables, half English, half growls, words that sound like commands from an older tongue. His lips crack and bleed, his teeth already sharper. Torres pulls away, her face pale. This isn't medical, this is ritual. The crew exchange glances. No one speaks of it aloud, but all are thinking the same thing. Humanity's most ancient curse has found them in its purest hunting ground. The monitors beep. Pressure fluctuates in Module B, as if the station itself shudders under the presence of something it was never meant to contain. Why would ancient werewolf myths suddenly manifest in orbit? What truth was buried in those stories about the moon's reach? If Anders breaks free of the restraints, there's nowhere to run, no woods, no streets, just thin aluminum walls between prey and the void. Some of you know this legend already. Comment if you've heard whispers of this curse before. The straps. Strain, cargo restraints were designed to hold floating crates of water and food, not a man whose muscles knot and twist as if they're tearing themselves apart. Anders's spine arches backward, a shudder rolling through him like a wave under. His skin, crack, pop, tear, each sound is amplified in the stillness of orbit, where every noise feels surgical and obscene. His teeth chatter against the mouth guard Torres forced in, but when the first fang pierces rubber, the others follow in a vicious line. The crew backs away, tethering themselves to walls, trying to find space in corridors that suddenly feel coffin-tight. Then it happens. His chest convulses once, twice, then splits upward as hair bursts through like smoke underwater. The restraints snap loose in zero gravity. The release is catastrophic. His body flings forward with unnatural speed, clawed hands slashing the air, drifting toward them like a predator swimming through the void. A howl tears through the station, not just sound, pressure. It rattles every bolt, shakes condensation from the pipes, makes the comms scream feedback. Earth rotates below, the blood moon's red stain pulsing across the station's windows as if feeding the transformation. Elena screams into her mic, "Raskov, lock the hatches, lock them!" But it's too late. Anders, or what used to be Anders, has already lunged. His jaws snap inches from her visor, a fleck of saliva floating off like a glistening pearl. She kicks back, colliding with a wall panel, air leaving her lungs in a grunt. The beast spins in slow motion, fur drifting in strands. Bones still breaking mid-rotation. It is half human, half wolf, and half something else entirely. The zero gravity tearing natural laws apart, reshaping the curse into a nightmare no folklore ever prepared for. One of the crew fires a bolt pistol, a weapon meant for emergencies. The shot ricochets harmlessly, the sound ringing like a bell through the chamber. Worse. Tiny fragments puncture a storage pouch, oxygen hisses, alarms blare. The beast turns, its head toward the noise. Its eyes burn molten amber, catching reflections of earth far below. Then it smiles, or the closest thing a wolfish snarl can get to mockery. Torres whispers, "It's learning." The station plunges into darkness as the emergency lights fail. Only the moonlight remains, slicing red across steel. What does a werewolf's body become when the laws of weight and gravity no longer apply? With oxygen leaking, is the crew in more danger from the vacuum or the monster? If the snap of bone made you wince, sit like and let the algorithm know you survived. Red strobes flare, then die. The only steady light is the blood moon bleeding through the viewports. The International Space Station has never felt smaller. The crew scatter, not running, drifting in orbit. Escape is slow, silent, clumsy. Every handhold, every tether is life or death. Behind them, the beast moves with unnatural grace. No clumsy fumbling, it swims through the air like it was born for the void. Claws scrape against aluminum walls, leaving gashes deep enough to reveal insulation. The station was built to withstand meteors, yet one creature's fingers score it like cheap tin. Raskov slams a hatch shut, locking himself and two others in Node 3. Their breath fogs the air. They listen, scratching sounds echo down the tunnel. Then silence. Thunk, a dent caves inward. Claws punching through. A muzzle pushes past the seal, teeth snapping. The hatch groans. Raskov whispers a prayer under his breath. Across the station, Elena floats through the Columbus module, her flashlight beams stuttering across racks of equipment. Something glints, blood droplets, suspended mid-air, slowly spinning. She covers her mouth to stifle her breath, but each inhale sounds thunderous in her helmet. Then, ahead, A reflection in the viewport, glowing eyes hovering behind her. She twists too late. The beast lunges, its jaws snap shut on empty air as she kicks off the wall, propelling herself down the tube. Her shoulder slams into a panel, pain blooming through her ribs. She doesn't stop. In microgravity, there is no sprinting, only a desperate series of collisions. Her body careens into walls, handholds slipping past. Behind her, the monster follows like a shadow unbound by speed limits. Every corridor looks the same. Every hatch creaks, alarms shriek warnings. Oxygen leak, power drain, pressure drop. Survival is a clock ticking down in 6 different ways. Docking bay, she whispers, pulling herself toward the hatch that leads to the Soyuz capsule. Escape, re-entry home. But when she reaches the hatch, it's already twisted, mangled, clawed beyond use. The capsule is useless. The beast made sure of it. She floats there, trembling, the beast's growl vibrating through her bones. Its claws slam into the bulkhead behind her, the sound like thunder on metal. Sparks shower the module. Somewhere deeper in the station, a man screams. Then nothing. Elena shuts her eyes, breathes once, twice, then pushes off, aiming for the service module. Not to flee, to hide, to think, to survive just a few more minutes, because in orbit, there's nowhere to run, only compartments to die in. If the beast tears through one hull, does everyone die in the vacuum, or does it hunt the survivors? Module by module. Why does the creature move so perfectly in zero gravity, as if the curse evolved for space? Where would you run if glowing eyes stared through your window? Tell me below. I want to see who would survive. The station groans like a wounded animal. Panels rattle. The beast's growls echo through ventilation shafts, chasing the crew like a phantom. Elena drifts into the service module, sealing the hatch. Her breaths come shallow, uneven. She turns to the console. Half the systems are blinking red, pressure dipping in sections where claws breached insulation. They have hours, maybe less, before the whole station is compromised. She notices something odd. The monitors tracking lunar radiation, spikes, violent spikes, synchronized with Anders's convulsions. It's not coincidence. The blood moon shadow is magnified here, closer to the raw source of lunar influence. Her mind flashes to old folklore, legends she once dismissed. Villagers whispering of wolves that didn't just change under the moon, but grew violent during eclipses, when the Earth's shadow bled across the lunar surface. But none of those myths considered orbit. Up here, there's no atmosphere to filter it, no Earth to shield them, just raw primal radiation. Another crew member, Commander Raskov, hails her over the comm. His voice is ragged, haunted. Torres, I read the logs. Do you see it? The curse. It's stronger here, closer to the source. Elena whispers back. It's not just superstition. The moon is the key. It always was. We've just magnified it. By coming here, a silence follows. The commander's breathing hitches. Then he says words that chill her blood. This station, our mission, wasn't random. Someone knew. Elena freezes. The thought takes root. What if the blood moon experiment wasn't designed for science, but for summoning, for testing, for binding something old, something humanity was never meant to carry into orbit? The legends come flooding back. Wolves that hunted not for flesh, but for legacy. Curses that spread bloodline to bloodline, echoing through time. And now, the curse is free of Earth's soil. It's in the sky. She looks out the viewport. Earth glows below, helpless, unaware. The moon glares above, fat and crimson, its surface cratered like a hungry maw. And in that moment she knows, if the beast isn't stopped here now, it won't just haunt forests and villages. It will haunt the stars. A new howl reverberates through the hull, louder, closer. Was the werewolf curse an earthly infection, or a cosmic pact tied to the moon itself? If exposure to raw lunar radiation intensifies the curse, what happens when the beast reaches direct light in orbit? Curses like this don't end. They echo, subscribe, and join the archive before the next howl. The station is breaking apart, Bulkheads groan with every strike of claw and fist. Oxygen levels plummet. Panels spark. The beast moves like lightning in slow motion, a blur of fur and teeth darting between modules, hunting them with precision. There's no containment left, no hatches to hide behind. Commander Raskov's voice crackles through the comms. We can't kill it, but we can burn it. His plan is brutal, final. Lure the creature into the Progress supply module, detach it, and send it screaming into Earth's atmosphere. The beast will either burn to ash or deliver its howl to the ground below. The survivors scramble. Torres drifts into Node 4, baiting the beast with bursts of sound, slamming panels, broadcasting static. Her hands tremble, but her eyes are steady. Across the station, another astronaut disengages locks, prepping the module for detachment. Then the beast appears. Its body is no longer fully human. Bones jut from its shoulders, floating like jagged wings. Its fur glows faintly, lit by radiation seeping through. The viewport, its howl vibrates through the hull, making screws pop loose, lights explode, equipment shatter. It lunges for Elena. She pushes off hard, flying down the tube into the waiting maw of the Progress module. The beast follows, claws sparking against steel. The hatch seals behind them. Outside, Raskov braces his hand against the release lever. His knuckles whiten. Torres, are you clear? Her voice hisses back. No, the line goes silent. Then the commander closes his eyes and pulls. The hatch detaches. The supply pod jolts free, drifting away from the ISS. Elena floats inside, the beast circling her, claws ripping handholds from the walls. She grips a console, overrides the pod's systems, manual re-entry engaged. She whispers, the pod tilts. Earth rising large in the viewport. Flames lick the edges as atmosphere seizes the craft. Heat builds, the walls glowing red. The beast thrashes, howling as fire scorches its fur. It lunges for her one last time, jaws wide, teeth gleaming. Elena kicks off, slamming her body into the guidance lever, locking the pod's trajectory downward. Flames roar. The screen fills with white fire. The last sound before blackout is a scream, half human, half wolf, dissolving into static. Did Elena burn with the beast, or did she escape in the final moment? If the curse is tied to the moon, can even atmospheric fire destroy it? Or did something survive the fall? This isn't the last transformation. The next one is worse. Follow the howl to the story waiting on screen. The flames fade, silence returns. For a long moment, Earth drifts below, unblinking. The blood moon, fat and crimson, begins to slip back into shadow. The cursed light dims, but the echoes remain. Inside the station, Raskov floats in darkness. His hands are steady, but his eyes are hollow. He knows what he's done. Sent two souls into fire, one cursed, one willing, but has the nightmare ended, or only scattered? He drifts to a viewport. The glass is cracked from earlier strikes, thin fissures branching like veins. He leans close, beyond. Earth's horizon glows, blue and gold against black. But his breath catches. A sound leaks through his comm. Static. At first random, then shaping into a rhythm, a howl, faint but unmistakable, rippling through the signal bands. Elena's voice emerges, warped and broken. The moon follows, then silence. Raskov closes his eyes. A tear floats free, glimmering in the dim red light. He whispers, "Forgive us." The ISS shudders again. Just a vibration, maybe thermal expansion, or maybe something else still moving in. The hull. The screen fades to black, then one final echo. A howl, distant, rising through static because some curses don't burn away. They survive. They wait. They spread. Was Elena consumed? Or did something else ride back to Earth in the pod? If the howl can travel through signal static, is the curse no longer bound to blood, but to transmission itself? The pack grows stronger with every whisper. Share this tale if you dare. And join us before the curse finds you alone. And for those who hunger for more, step deeper into the shadows with our ultimate werewolf horror playlist, linked in the description below. In the world of horror, the scariest things happen when you least expect them. And trust me, you don't want to be left in the dark. Welcome to the darkness.